Welcome to another fantastic fall season here in beautiful northern Michigan. A time for harvest celebration, color tours, high spirits, and noisy spirits, better known as poltergeists. And the Grand Traverse region is filled with more than its fair share of phantom phenomena and illuminating apparitions. In 1918, a missing nun in Lower Leelanau County turned up buried in the basement of a local church. Her bones were secretly moved at night to an unmarked grave in a nearby cemetery. Did her spirit walk the county road in search of justice? Years later, as her accused murderer awaited trial in the small Leland jail that still stands today, an autopsy of the victim's skull revealed the gruesome fact. She had been buried alive. The Old Town Playhouse on Cass Street is home to the Traverse City Civic Players and an elusive apparition who enjoys tickling the astral ivories. For almost a century now, the Phantom piano player has performed there.
Well, there were three of us washing dishes, cleaning up. We'd locked all the doors, and we started hearing some piano music. So we thought someone was still upstairs and they were trying to spook us, so we took opposite staircases. And when we got to the main floor, there were two pianos in front of the stage, and they were both covered with tarps. When we opened the door, the music stopped, and there was nobody sitting at the piano. So then we went up to the dance studio where the other piano was, and from opposite staircases, we flicked on the light and looked across an empty room at each other and split. Got out of there. It's too weird.
On other occasions, the theater crew have experienced far more physical manifestations.
Well, I was working down in the carpenter shop, and it was fairly late in the evening, and I was on the floor nailing a couple of boards together and looked up just in time to see this lead pipe come off the wall and come directly at me. I raised my hand and caught it just in time, or it would have probably banged me on the head. It defied the laws of gravity. It did not slide off the wall, but it came directly off at an angle. Quite surprising.
Nearby Bass Lake in Long Lake Township was the site of the unusual disappearance of an entire family in 1868. A room of their abandoned homestead was filled with bloodstains that, after being scrubbed from the walls, would later reappear. A trunk filled with clothes was later found in the shallow lake, but no one would ever explain the mystery or venture into the haunted house. Traverse City's best-known ghost, Genevieve Stickney, seems to have taken up permanent residence at her old home, a now popular area restaurant, Bowers Harbor Inn.
Our ghost, Genevieve Stickney, has appeared in the mirror you see behind me on more than one occasion. We do have the elevator, which has been known to go up and down more than a few times. We have a ladies' restroom where many things have happened. The vanity has actually been pulled out to the middle of the floor. So the ghost is more prevalent in the summer than in the winter, many times each night.
Stay tuned to the Visitors Channel for more true Grand Traverse ghost stories.
What did you do?
I quit for the night. I had had enough. I thought that was it.
The area around North Elmwood and Bay Streets was the site of Traverse City's first burials, and at least one nearby house has a long history of bumps in the night.
Shortly after Margaret and I were married in 1992, I woke up in the middle of the night and I felt a presence in the hallway. And it startled me. I've never had anything like that happen before. And the dog and the cats also felt something. I felt like I was being watched or investigated. And then it was gone. By the time I woke my wife up, the presence was gone. The second night, the presence came back again. I'm not sure if it was the same time or not. This time we both sensed it. I felt it was a female presence. There was no noise, no wind, no light, nothing, just a presence. The third night was very brief, as if it was one final check to make sure everything was okay. And we found out a week later at a New Year's Day party that our house, the rumor has it, was the second house from the corner, and that we probably had a ghost.
Their eternal house guest also has a particular color preference.
Well, a little bit over a year ago, I decided after my daughter moved out that I'd make this into my studio. And couldn't decide on a color, but I thought I'd just better go with a neutral color. So all the time, though, I kept thinking of yellow. Yellow just kept coming. I have to paint the walls yellow. But I don't even like yellow. And so I did pick up a neutral, and I started stripping the wallpaper off the walls and got to the third layer of paint, of wallpaper stripping, and there was yellow on the walls. Probably the original color in the house, in the bedroom. So I left it a few days, bought my paint, and came in to paint it, opened up my jar of paint, my can of paint, and the dog was with me. And just as I was ready to paint, I heard, "No!" And I think I had a little bit more decorating advice than I wanted to have.
And there was no one in the house?
No one in the house. And the dog also heard the voice say no, a woman's voice. So I think I'm painting the room yellow now, just to make everyone happy.
Over at the Homestead Inn on Lake Michigan, they call the resident spook Johnny, a young boy who some say hung himself in the corner attic in the early 20s when the inn was a school.
Well, a couple of years ago, actually it was about 3 summers ago, we had new waitstaff in one night, and we had a wedding. And we had these Schaefer dishes out on the main floor in our main dining room. And the 3 of us were standing in the opening at the kitchen doors, and all of a sudden, one of the Schaefer dishes just opened up, like so. Just like that. And they're pretty heavy, so they're not going to open that easily. And we stood there, and for about 3 minutes it stayed open. Nothing came out of it, but after 3 minutes the Schaefer dish just closed, suddenly, like that. Now, if it were just a close, it would slam shut. But it just closed so lightly that there's no way that it could have been the wind or anybody else doing it. So we kind of blame it on Johnny, our ghost.
Of course, you can just imagine how many tortured souls haunt the now vacant Adams-esque buildings of the state hospital that are known as the Asylum. It opened in 1885 to accommodate some 500 insane inhabitants, and the goings-on in its maze of underground tunnels are the stuff of local legend. These are just a few of our area's spirited legacies.